Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of My Community. I'm here with my lovely guest, Nye Jones. Nye, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, John.
A pleasure to have you as always. Nye, before we get into our topic, which is mental health, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Well, to be honest, John, let's talk about where we met. We met at LA Fitness, and
Yes.
something that I believe in really deeply is since I've been on my journey of life, I think about wellness, right? And wellness and mental health and just being in the right mindset, when it comes to living life in general. I also think about how important it is to take care of yourself holistically. And so there we were at the gym, and I was like, "Oh my God, there's Superman, a lookalike." And so I met you, and you showed me your fiance, and you told me about your books. I was like so proud of you. And then you told me you were getting married. I was like so excited for you because I have been on this journey myself. I have a family, three beautiful daughters, two granddaughters, and my husband, who recently deceased in January. And going through a process of mental health and recovery, and grateful for the experience that I had so far. So yeah, my name again, I mentioned earlier, is Nye Jones. You mentioned earlier, John, so you might have to cut that out.
No,
But
it's okay.
nevertheless, I've been in New Jersey for over 30 years. I'm originally from Tennessee. So this area is really interesting. New Jersey is a really great place to live. I like it because it's easy access to New York. But what I think about is that when it comes to, can we pause for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So as I mentioned before, we mental health is really important, and so I include the gym as part of my mental health regimen. But yeah, so I've been in Jersey, as I mentioned before, for over 30 years. Very nice place to live. I started in IT. That's what I graduated in. I met my husband in Tennessee. When I've been in IT for some time, I was always the only woman and the only black woman on the team, and oftentimes I was didn't get the same opportunities as other groups, and so that also affected my mental health. So instead of just being angry and bitter about it, I went to talk to the president of the organization and just mentioned that, hey, we have a lot of diversity here. We need more inclusion, and so then I became on a journey of supporting the organization with initiatives focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then I studied more, went to Cornell University and studied DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what I learned was that this work is bigger and deeper than that, because I feel like that America at its own is really set into a precondition to feel like it's okay to lie, and it's okay for people to be homeless, and it's okay for people to not have their mental health supported. And I found myself on my journey working for a nonprofit organization, and we focus on people that deal with mental health. And I think it's more deeper than just the surface level of what we see, but I feel like it's more, has a lot to do with how our country is designed. Because if you think about it, we are a country full of resources. I mean, the world is full of so many resources that it's enough resources on this earth for no one to be homeless, no one to be hungry, and no one to have the support they need to succeed. And so we're in this cycle where it's okay for some groups to have priority over decision making. And it's okay for us to have rules for one group of individuals and not the other. And would I say that not to get political, but we have a president that was voted in as a felon. And that's not okay, because if it was any other group that was a felon, that move might have not happened. And there's a lot of things that are affecting people that are lack. I mean, just scrolling through social media, you hear people say, oh, I've made the most money that I ever made in my life, but I'm still broke. I'm still struggling. I'm still trying to feed my children, and I still don't have enough resources. And so that affects your mental health. And people, uh, we don't have to live like this. I don't think about life as we're only on this earth for a short period of time. Why are we arguing? Why are we mad at each other? Why are we fussing? Why are we trying to control your religion? Why are we trying to control spaces? Why don't we just share? What's the purpose? So that's why I feel like that, we all are in this cycle of really not having that direct connection for feeling comfortable in all spaces.
That's beautifully said, Nine. I feel like I completely agree with I'd say almost all your points, because I feel like a lot of what goes into mental health these days is just not having the basic necessities of taking care of yourself, right?
Right.
Like you said it best, where it was like we do have the resources for taking care of homelessness, to feed the hunger, and to give shelter, and all these things, and we elect not to do these things.
Right.
We choose the darker path due to money, due to
Power.
avarice, whatever adjective you want to use. It's a very unfortunate path that has been kind of plaguing our country for a long time.
Right, right. And that's why I feel like that we are sick, because we accept it.
Yeah.
And be honest, like every day you could maybe do a little something to improve it. But when are we going to come as a collective and really do something about it?
Right.
Because there's enough trees to build houses or shelter, and enough resources for us to give people, not just give people food, but teach them how to get their own food.
Right, right.
A lot of times we do the welfare thing. It's okay for that moment, but don't stay on that path. Teach them how to do what we do.
No, we could grow as a community together.
Exactly.
Like we're. I understand what you're saying, where it's like we want to lend out the helping hands because people do need that, but we don't have to also live on that basis indefinitely. We could grow together, and we could be more of a communal environment, as opposed to this disassociated, disenfranchised, and disenchanted community that we've been for so long.
Right. And this is so much more bigger than us. It's so much deeper than, this surface discussion. But it's just like, you think about it, it's like, as I mentioned before, we're here on this earth for a short period of time. Like, life is not promised to you the next day. So why are we so angry with each other? Like, why? And the more that I've been doing this work and working with individuals, it has a lot to do with something simple. As simple as how we interact with each other. For instance, if you're a cop interacts with one group of people differently than another, that right there causes mental health problems. It also has a different view, sky view, of how people view police. Like, I'm not angry at an individual policeman, but if I see the behavior is different from one group to another, and my sister and brother gets killed because of that, that also affects the community mental health. And so that's why people are so angry with cops, or they fear cops, instead of really having a relationship with them, because oftentimes you see that they will kill a person of color, and they will not kill a person that looks like them in the moment if they even do the same type of crime. And it's not their fault. because it's because of early socialization, how we were taught when we were younger, and the beliefs that were instilled in us through our teachers, through our parents, is having all those thoughts thrown at us, before. I mean, if you look at kids, if you put all these little 2 year olds in the room, they just interact with no restriction, no, they like loving each other, they can hug each other, just like okay with it. But as soon as they grow up with all this, the early socializations of this is this and that is that, that is when the decision making changes.
Yeah, and the overall disconnect in the
Right.
relationships.
Right.
Yeah.
And then those mental beliefs start to tip up, and then the insecurity and the fear and the anxiety. And that's what I see a lot of Americans are in. They're in this state of anxiety, they're in this state of fear. Why should we all be walking around afraid? Why should we all have all this anxiety over I can't pay this or I can't pay that or I can't afford this and I can't afford that? That's horrible to be in that state of mind, but it's how we are.
Yeah.
And it's just not in America, but mostly this is my experience here in America.
Yeah, no, it's been a tough ride for a lot of people, and I've seen it because I've had conversations with many people of all different shapes and sizes, as it were, and I feel like it is that constant fear and anxiety that is plaguing us due to the state of affairs that we're in and the state of the world that we live in, because the thing is, it doesn't seem to be getting better either. It is a constant theme where it is getting progressively worse, progressively more stressful. It is putting down the working class. I mean, if we're going on more of a socio-political conversation, it seems like obviously the disparity between the rich and the poor is getting bigger and bigger,
That's right.
and it's just becoming a very us versus them mentality. When,
Right.
like you said, if we did work as a more of a collective unit, this wouldn't be an issue.
Right. Right. Yep, absolutely. So, as we continue this journey, of looking for positive change, I hope that I can make a change throughout the world and we can do better. It's like if we could focus on treating each other right and doing what's right, we could be a lot further in this world.
Absolutely.
We could have more growth, more innovation, but we're so focused on this is mine, this is my corner, and you can't have it. And don't you worship your God because your God is not my God. And all that for what?
Yeah.
Because one day you're not going to be here. All of us have the same path. We are born and we die.
That's right.
So what is the in between? Yeah, fussing for. So
Yeah. No,
that's what I take.
I no, I totally agree with you, and I firmly believe that when it comes down to it, we should have more faith in each other, because being kind, being nice, being optimistic, people don't understand this. I feel like sometimes it is actually the harder path.
Right.
Being greedy, being mean, being cruel to people, it's easier because it lacks effort. It lacks thought of other people. It's care of oneself as opposed to caring of others.
Right.
And obviously, that creates more of a challenge, because humans probably by nature are inherently selfish. I mean, I think we can both agree with that.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, if we could put that kind of notion aside and grow as people, maybe, and be kind to one another, help each other out when needed, and really build something beautiful, I think the possibilities are endless. Truly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you as well because well, for me though, it takes me a lot more effort to be mean. and angry
Yeah.
and upset with folks because I try to stay away from groups that like chatter about each other, send out negative energy. I just try to keep my energy space clean because oftentimes you connect with energies that create more havoc, and it's important to kind of connect with positivity. And that's what I try to do. That's part of my mental health for myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nye. Before we go on, Nye, do you have any words of wisdom, whether it be for mental health for people or just life advice for the audience listening?
Yeah, sure. One thing that I always say, I say this often: embrace the moment. Just oftentimes we're like thinking about, oh, what should I do next, or what I'm doing this, or what I'm doing that. Just take a moment and just be present and embrace it and be grateful for it, so more good things can come to you.
Absolutely.
So that's my take. Thank
That's-
you, John, for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Superman at his best.
Thank you so much for being here, Nye. Thanks for stopping by. And for our next guest, we're gonna have the World Union on the podcast, and we're gonna discuss treaties of world peace. Have a good